Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Gary's Podcast. This is our 12th episode. Or as my producer Noah told me last week, our 1,000 episodes. Yes, we hit 1,000 episodes, everyone. Booyah! And we're coming to you inside Lancer Radio on this beautiful campus of Penn City College on this beautiful Westgate in Southern California. Dallas Reigns, ABC7, back to you, Gary. Get guys. We'll see you tonight at 11. And at the same time, I'm joined by my co-host, Michelle. Michelle, happy Wednesday to you.
Happy Wednesday, David.
And today, I'll be joined with my guest, and he's my classmate, and from my two other class with me and Michelle. And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my friend, Sylvain. Sylvain, welcome to Gary's Podcast.
I feel so blessed to be here with Michel Vega, my dear David Zoltivar.
Sí, señor.
Sí, señor, yo hablo un poquito en español. Sí, ¿cómo está en la casa? Muy bien.
Muy bien.
Sí, muy bien.
Estamos aquí en Gary's Podcast.
David Podcast on Lancer Radio Network.
En Lancer Radio, episodio número 12.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. We're already having fun, people. Okay.
Yeah, let's do that, man.
All right, Selma, are you ready for your topics and questions?
I don't know.
All right.
Yes, I am.
All right, good night, everyone. All right, Selma, your first topic is Solomon, and your first question is, tell us about your story.
My story. From when? From the beginning?
By the beginning
So it's
till
all
now.
starting with a very hot night somewhere in France, between my mom and my dad, you know?
Right.
And but maybe I should go a little forward, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So from when?
Like, tell us your story from the beginning, like when you were born, especially your not you're born, especially your story. I mean, your life, like when you were
Childhood?
your childhood.
Okay. So basically, I was born in France in 1977. I've been nice for my mother to enjoy the New Year's Eve. I waited 2 days, and then I was born. Then she could have champagne. It's probably what made me get out of her, you know. And then I grew up in a simple little village called Aubigny-sur-Ner in France, with a castle, which is basically the castle of Mary Stuart, because it was under authority of Scotland authority. Beautiful. There's a festival every year in July, by the way. If one day you go to France, you should definitely go to this region. It's a wonderful region. Always loved, since I was a kid, to make some kind of voices, and even once, sometimes was surprised with some friends with all magnetophone. How would you say that? It's tape recorder. We were starting to have some kind of fun and making like some kind of voices. Then I grew up. I became an adult one day. I mean, am I still an adult? I don't know. It depends on how I am tuned in my head. Right. My parents were saying like, hey, you know, you should work in a very, very good job. A good job would be like to work as a nurse or a nurse assistant. It's how I ended up being a nurse assistant for about 15 years in Paris, long story short. And still, whenever it was hard on some kind of like in the ER, these kind of things, I always loved to do this kind of like voice from the radio or cartoon voices of these kind of things, just to cheer up everyone. Sometimes it was a patient, really loved it, and sometimes it was the team, and they really loved that. You know, I had internet when I was pretty late in my life. And then one of the first things, weirdly, I put on Google was like, voiceover artist. And I'm like, actually there's a school for that. And I was like, nah, forget it. You know, it's for the others. It's probably just a dream. It's not something you can think about. And basically I was still working. I was working in cardiology. I'm making it really short. And I met this man that was in the bedroom, and I arrived. I'm like, hi, my name is Sylvain. I am nurse assistant. And the man looked at me and said, no, it's not what you are. You say you are this. Like, I mean, it's my function. I'm here to help you, so it's what I do. He said, He said, you're an actor. I'm like, what? So it was making me laugh somehow, but somehow it was like, back on the pain, I was like, I kind of liked it.
Right.
And what happened, I'm like, I saw this man once again. I thought he was being nice because I was taking care of him, and he insisted on the fact, no, you're an actor. I'm like, ooh. So it's kind of like putting you some kind of pressure. It's good for the self-esteem. On the other hand, you're like, yeah, maybe it's a little overrated, but I decided to explore it all. I did some few theater classes. It was like some kind of classic, like Andromaque. I don't know if you know Andromaque. I believe it was a Racine version. Everything was in Alexandrin. You say Alexandrin in English? Alexandrin, it's when you got like 12 syllabus that needs to bounce. It's some kind of like text with poetry. So it was pretty classic theater. And I'm like getting out of it. There was one role that was finding a little complicated. After that, it was pretty violent, and I was not psychologically ready to do that. So I'm like a step away about it. I've been some kind of frustrated with it, and I kind of like, okay, maybe I should slow down a little with that. And then, long story short, I came back to this website, VoiceOver. I'm really like the interpretation of text, this kind of things. So I decided to. There was an open casting for free. I decided to go. And there was a test done, and they say, hey, I did the test, like without that much conviction. Just decided to have fun behind the mic, and also see what was an actual studio. And they say, hey, you could pretend to do the professional classes. So I did a final test, and I decided to make a professional voice acting class, basically, that was covering way more TV and radio. And so a little later, that I decided to try to, arriving here, decided to contact basically an agent that decided to take me. So I got an agency in Beverly Hills. And basically trying to dig into the world, a little more into the world of the dubbing that I love. I had some few dubbing experience. So basically arriving in Los Angeles. So one for Netflix so far. Plus another project that unfortunately never been released. That's why we need to be kind of prudent about what you do, what you say. But I'm trying to show a result. Whenever not being like, hey, look, I'm doing that. Instead of like being a little laid back, doing the project. When the project is released, I'm like, there's no denial. The job has been done, and it has been well done and validated by a casting director and basically a artistic director. So trying to build my career on that side, in the voiceover world, and also now a student at PCC, radio production, podcasts, audio, all these kind of things. This is where basically I'm coming from, and this is where I am at now, knowing that the goal is there's always a room for improvement, so still kind of staying in the domain of acting and media. So what was approximately the presentation of myself. I'm hoping I didn't forget anything, but I'm sure you will dig in it, right?
Oh, I will.
Yeah. I'm hoping that I can respond to one single question for this podcast is, why should you listen?
Okay, and what is something different that you did in France that you don't do here? Or what's a big difference when you moved here?
I mean, when you move here, moving here, I was thinking to myself, look, I am different. I am from another country. Not necessarily maybe the language that is the most heard around here. And even though I believe there's a pretty nice community of French people here, I was like, I am French, so let's try to exploit the fact that I am different and see if this difference can make the difference. And trying some other things in other domains. So one of the first job I did here, outside of voice acting, was also tour guide for almost 10 years.
Too much water.
No, I took too much water.
The water's kicking in. I got you to continue, so.
The thing is, if you don't stop me, I will never stop. So
I'll call Tara and say, "Tara, someone." Okay.
I'm hoping I responded to your question as much.
Yeah, you can respond now. I'm gonna ask you another question. Was describe leaving Paris to America.
What about them?
Describe when you left Paris to come to America.
Oh, it has been a huge struggle. Don't think that coming from another country in America, I mean, it's something easy, but also had a good surrounding for that. It's scary. It's scary to. I mean, it takes. I don't want to put some cream on my back if I dare to say that, like, oh wow, oh my God, I'm so strong and stuff. It's not easy. It's like you are, but I was happy to do it because I came here for my lady, so and she's American, so I'm like, I call her my lady d'amour. Holly, if you see me, I love you. Anyway, yes, that's the first name of my wife. I love her so much. So basically, long story short, see, I'm like, whew, having like the little emotion when I speak of her, about her. So basically, it's all the thing like getting rid of all your things before coming. Like I had my life in Paris, and there's something that comes sometime in life where you need to make a choice. I'm like, hey, happiness is knocking on your door. So what do? I'm like, I take my chance. Should I move? And yeah, I mean, there's been like thought and reflected, and then I decided to move in Los Angeles and get married. And basically getting rid of all my things. It has been very stressful. For about 15 days, I needed to remove all my belongings, just to end up basically coming in America with like one single little backpack that I still have here, my old backpack with a computer and one single suitcase, and you get rid of. Could you imagine you live at your home right now? You get rid of all of your things, and all of a sudden you need to come somewhere, and yeah. But once I finished to clean up everything at my home, I had this feeling of freedom. I'm like, wow, I'm starting something new. So it feels like cleansing yourself of your past, but not that I was rejecting it, because some people said, oh, you left everything to go somewhere else. I'm like, no. I'm not leaving everything. I'm basically continuing my path. And my path is saying like, hey, this will take place in Los Angeles. So I arrived, and the day I was at the airport with my little backpack on my bag, and my suitcase that was already ready to go, in the duty-free zone, I'm like, oh my God, I feel like a pioneer or something. They're coming to a new country. So you decide simply to open your field of possibilities.
Right.
And I believe it's like the day you decide, I decide to do something else. I decide to go to PCC, for example. I'm like, hey, I'm almost 50. I'm not lying on my age. I'm 48. And I was like, hey, what if maybe there was a way? And it has been a struggle for me to come at school. I've never been like crazy about school. I've been any kind of student, the bad student, the fun student, the good student, sometimes too good for some people, and also the one that everyone was hating in class. So I've been any kind of student, and coming back to school has been a real struggle for me. And I was like, yeah, that was kind of cool. I met with Professor Joe Armstrong. He was the teacher, the first teacher I had here in PCC, and it was some kind of a revelation, because this man is an amazing man.
Right.
If you guys got the occasion to do TVR 14A, I got huge respect for Joe Armstrong. Is really putting you here and like, hey, this is the hot seat. We got this program. I explained to you a little what's going on. You know what? Do it. And you're like, all right. And you're like, oh, gosh, I did it. So they're really putting you in the situation as a professional. And really fast, I had a feeling it took us in the studio. And I really love that. The fact, like, let's be doers. There's what we study, but let's be doers. And maybe like, let's jump in the bath. I really love that about this class, actually. So I don't know, maybe I've been a little... going a little everywhere about what I was saying, but coming from France to America, don't think it's an easy path. It takes lots of patience and lots of dose of some kind of courage, I guess.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. You know, like, even Joe Armstrong said, "Do it scared." You know.
Yeah,
Yeah, you need to do
Professor
scared.
Joe, man. Professor Joe Armstrong. I love him.
Yeah, it's amazing that you came here, but it's truly inspiring because honestly, like a lot of people now, they're so attached to their lives, and
Right.
it's good to let go and move forward, even though you're not letting go, like you said.
You know, I will let you know something about that. The scare can come back.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
you think, oh, I did that, I did that, I did. Sometimes you don't realize, and sometimes some events, you're like, you have the feeling to, oh gosh, what's going on? I'm a little stuck in my life right now. And when you think, wow, this was a bold move for this, and sometimes I like everyone, I'm like, oh, I got a lower self-esteem. I'm like, am I doing the right thing? I believe it's also good sometimes to like, hey, and looking at yourself and like, hey, did I do the right choice? Usually you find out like, yeah, I believe it's the right choice. I mean, when you make a choice, it's always at the moment you make the choice, you are convinced to do the best choice. If not, you would not take the choice. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, doubting sometimes is coming. Like my voiceover career, I mean, it's not the best voiceover career ever, but it's not the worst. And almost every single time I was like, you know what? Forget it. I'm done with that and stuff. A project came. I'm like, hey, you're booked for that. I'm like, what the heck? So it's like calling you back somehow. But it's like the domain of radio, like being all around the studio, the microphone, meeting with very interesting person, ready to ask for some question, maybe to try to elevate and thrive each other by this kind of interview. That's great. I believe that's a great thing. It's sharing. I strongly believe that human beings, wherever they are from, we should try to elevate ourselves, elevate each other to
Yeah.
get
Right.
to get the best of each other, instead of like, oh, these guys are not good. Oh, these guys, they are the bad guys. Stop. And we are in the giant melting pot, especially in Los Angeles. Like I told in my podcast, I don't know if you remember, but just here in Los Angeles, it's about 224 different languages that are spoken.
That's amazing.
It is
That's
amazing.
crazy.
Yeah.
You go to New York City, it's about 800 languages, if I remember well. I don't have the exact number, but Los Angeles 224 is an official number. That's crazy. The diversity here in Los Angeles, I believe it's what makes it great, and I believe that it should be an asset, even in the productions. More accurate productions. We are actually in a world of globalization. You take like networks like Netflix, like more and more actors from different countries with actual language and actual accents, not someone that is trying to make like a weird so-called what we believe is a French accent in America. More and more they are trying this production to bring the actual accent with actual actors from the location. So
Yeah.
I believe it's something really rich. Just here in PCC, I see the different kind of language, different kind of people. You are coming from El Salvador, right?
No, I was born here, but
You were born.
my parents are from it, so
Yeah. So you, Michelle, you have got origins from where, for example?
Mexico. Yeah.
Mexico, great. I'm from France. Look, we're already like 3 different kind of
We
fruits,
are.
and we are doing the show today.
That is so
Yes.
cool.
That's not cool, right?
Yeah.
So, I really strongly believe in that. We should elevate each other, and we need it even more now than ever.
Right.
Now than ever, we need to. We the people, like we say in America, we the people, we need to stick together because what makes like a country, what is making it great, it's not politicians saying this or that. It's the people of the country. The people of the country, especially in what we call democracy. So,
right. All right, now, Sylvain, your third question is, what led you to come to PCC and take classes?
all right, so let's be in the confession. I've been through 2 years of being like kind of depressed by my mom condition. My mom passed away like a month ago out of a very bad cancer. And for 2 years, I went. Maybe the last 3 years, I went back and forth 4 times in France to go and see her because she was sick. And living far from your country is great, especially when you know that the whole family is doing good. But when someone is bad and you are in another country, and I know I came for the right choice because I came to see the one I love and decided to construct life with her. But still, you cannot feel fully good when you know that someone as close as your mother is not doing that good. So, what was the question already?
You already took over my podcast.
Yeah.
This is the solo podcast. All right. I was saying, what led you to come? Maybe second. What led you to come to PCC and take classes?
Yes. So basically, yes, I was going through 2 years a little being depressed, kind of like doubting a little of myself. After COVID-19 in 2020, some other activities, acting, plus for the acting, I was also doing lots of kind of acting and also background actings. The jobs were going down. There was the what we call that, the strike.
Right.
Lots of strikes in the domain of the production. I went through kind of phases, plus my being a little depressed, trying to reconstruct a little myself and be like, hey, what's next? What do I like? I'm like, I kind of had more or less like tiny bit of experience in what we call that, a radio, web radio, but it was really to have fun, but I really loved that. So I was like, the expression behind a microphone is very interesting. I mean, I'm really more into the form, but what I loved about studying radio, it's also like, being able to write something, being able to build some kind of interview, being able to connect with people, and not only using the voice for the form, but also for some depth of some subject matter, a little like what you are doing right now. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, let's try it. I would love to build a show eventually, I don't know, by myself, or maybe gathering a team, try to see if there's something to try to build locally, even at PCC, put some life in the Lancer Radio Network. Right. Would be like something incredible. I mean, we got artists here. We got musicians. We could gather musicians over there, okay, in the studio. Maybe have some live show. Right. Maybe some musician we could interview. Right. Young musician. Right. Not even necessarily known, but, like everyone, we are... When you come here in an environment like this, where we can learn so much, where we have access to an amazing technology. I mean, we are able to broadcast. Hey guys, we're able to broadcast on YouTube. Even YouTube, though baby. And maybe build an actual radio. It could even become some kind of an official strong radio here. Yeah. I mean, there's some few programs, but if there's anything, I mean, maybe we could gather a crazy kind of people that, have fun. I'm from the generation, I am Gen X. No, X? Yes, Gen X, which is basically the crossroad, of generation, because I saw all this technology coming, but also know what was an old phone, for example, with the wires and stuff, right. With the stuff to turn. But I also saw more or less here in America, like crazy TV, MTV. France, there was this revolution was called Canal Plus. I don't know if you know Canal Plus. You heard about it?
No, never heard.
They're also producing movies throughout the world. They're also big productions, but it was a new channel with some kind of crazy project, and I kind of miss, this kind of show where it would be possible to broadcast some kind of crazy things, but that would, I don't know, thrive the people, to try to gather around a concept that would be huge and fun and sharing culture. So I don't know. I like to hear people enthusiastic behind a microphone about some kind of dreams. Yeah.
Right.
I believe it's important. It's let's get out here. We all have this inner child, but that's great because we can also control it with what we learn. This inner child express himself.
Right.
Gosh, that would be crazy, and I would love to see that. So, gents, hey, hey
we
guys,
say, we say
hey,
hi
you
to,
guys,
we
you
say
guys,
hi to our producer, James
Hey.
Kev, who's
Hi,
going to
James.
message you. Hi,
yeah,
James.
Jens
She's
is
the best.
She's amazing. She's thanks to Jens, we are able to broadcast right now. Thank you, Jens.
Yeah, thank you, James.
Thank you, Jen.
She came out of the bullpen.
Oh my God, you guys don't know her, but she's amazing.
Yeah, she is amazing. She was my guest on the tech episode. Am I correct, Michelle?
Yeah, I think her 10th episode.
She
Yeah.
was the best.
Gosh, she needs to come back.
I agree.
All right. So, yeah, it's, yeah. I'm hoping I didn't go all over the place, but yeah, probably I did. Probably I did.
Yeah, so like what is, I don't know, like what's one of your favorite like radio stations here?
Actually, for diverse reason, actually there was one. It has been replaced by the Christian radio. It was called The Sound. A few years ago, it was
Yes.
around having like the best classic rock ever. It was my best radio station, honestly. I was like listening to it when because I also did some little jobs sometimes required driving, something like Postmates and
Right.
stuff to make a little more money or something. And I was really loving this radio, like with this classic rock station. All the guys were good on this radio. I believe it was my favorite radio station. Of course, I like to listen to LA East whenever I want to get some news and accurate things because, unfortunately, there's more and more fake news nowadays, a little everywhere going on, and I believe that public radio is kind of like a public radio or public news is what can keep a country afloat.
Right.
So I'm like, hey, guys, let's try to go to the right sources to actually learn some things that can maybe help us to stay very well informed and not believing like the first comer saying some things, you know. So yeah, public radio is really great for that. I like to listen some of it. Yeah, at least when I am driving, usually a lot. You know, when I'm driving, I like to listen to it. At home, I will not lie. I am a huge consumer. I love YouTube and these kind of things. I like podcasts as well. By the way, I should try to find your podcast on. You are on.
Yeah, my podcast is on YouTube at David Horse 800.
Okay.
And on SoundCloud, you just download the app and you find my name, David Sagiva.
Okay. Understood. David Saldivar. Okay. That's what you need, guys. That's your podcast, man. Yeah. Subscribe right now.
Subscribe to my YouTube right now.
Yeah.
With my viral
And
face.
do not forget the amazing Michelle Vega with her.
Michelle, she's the best co-host.
Oh my God!
Thank
Without
you.
her, oh my God, she's like the little breeze of hair. My God.
Thank you.
She's so fresh. I love Michelle because Michelle, we met each other on the last semester, and we were doing like the podcast class with Joe Armstrong, and it's the first time we met, and I see her a little like maybe somehow little sister or something. So really like her a lot.
Thank you.
Sure, no, thank you, Michelle. Thank you for being yourself. Sweet.
This podcast is just too much fun. All right, now, Sylvain, your second topic is voice actor. And your fourth question is, tell us what made you decide to become a voice actor.
Like I was saying, I'm pretty connected to my inner side. Like we say in French, je ne suis pas tout seul dans ma tête. Some people which means basically I am not alone in my head. So I got some different kind of characters that like to express themselves and always love to do some voice. Sometimes I even doing my own voiceover about my life, about what's going on in my life.
Oh, that's good.
You know what I mean? I'm like doing
Yeah.
like, oh, what's going on right now?
Cute.
Oh, she's talking to me. What should I respond? Okay. Oh, option 1, yes. Option 1, no. Second, sorry. Option 3, maybe should I talk with her or him? So I don't know, it's just like kind of fun. I always love to do that. Also, when I was a tour guide, we were also in the bus, and we have the accessibility of having like a microphone. So somehow I was speaking about some kind of like historical fact, fun fact, local facts, things that I know, because my role in that job was to make the link in between the French culture and the American culture. So I was basically promoting the United States of America towards the French people that sometimes got this thought like, American history, it's a young country, barely 250 years old. It's not because it's 250 years old as a nation, because America was here before
Right.
the United States. Okay, so basically, it's what I was talking the most about was basically the first settlers, and then how the 13 colonies became actually a country. It's called the United States of America. And how the French government through Lafayette bought some weapons and also have been helpful for the American Revolution, for basically the independence of what will become the United States of America. So trying to make the link anytime I could. I also find out it was kind of crazy that basically the American Constitution was based on the French Enlightenment, which was very interesting. So I'm like, maybe you guys are maybe more French than you think. So the way of thinking things and all the way of, building this country, So and since I had, like I said, access to a microphone, I could also do some little voice sometimes, more or less, depending on the kind of audience I had, because I needed to understand who was my audience in front. Was there some kind of like, I am studious. I like to hear about the kind of fact, and please, no weird noise. And I had sometimes like, some guys that were like, want to have fun, don't want to have something too academic, So I'm like, I was giving some facts and still having fun with the guys while discovering the country. You are on the bus. Imagine you are driving. Picture this, the scene, and all of a sudden you look at the window and what you see is a beautiful landscape of the Wild Wild West. It was amazing. I was like, Sylvain, aren't you tired with this job? I'm like, look, did you see my office? It's got. I look at the window, it's never the same landscape. It's incredible, right? So this on that side was pretty fantastic to do this job. For the voice acting, like I said, I'm not alone in my head. So whenever, for example, I got some auditions, I'm like, if I am seeing a picture of a cartoon or something like that, I look at the cartoon and I'm like, talk to me. Talk to me. How would you speak, man? Talk to me. It's like, maybe I can speak like that. Yeah. What's your name? Oh, yeah. It's you, right? Really nice to meet you, man. I can't believe it. Nah, I would not say that exactly, So, I just like, It's like when you tell a story to a kid and you tell the story and you see a little fox or a little rabbit or a little frog and how all of a sudden you are telling the story to a kid and all of a sudden you give a voice to each of the characters you see. So that's kind of like beautiful.
That's beautiful. So when you narrate in your head, do you do it in French or like in English?
I will tell you something. Once you live in a country that is basically the language you learned, little by little, when you come here, you start to think in English. You start to I had once, I was going through my once I was going through my door and I said thank you to the dude that was basically the I call that the postman. Yeah. And I said, oh, thank you, very naturally. And in my head, I had a stop for a second. I'm like, what the heck? What am I? Where I am from? I am from France, but I'm living here in California. And I'm like, what is my language? English, French? What is it? So, I think about it in the language that they asked me to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it's a French guy, of course, my native language will come back. I mean, it's how I feel the things, at least. It's how I feel them. It's how it looks like my brain is working. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right, now your fifth question, Sylvain, is how you prepare for promos and commercials.
Prepare. And so one for promo or commercials. I mean, commercials. I did some commercials. I did the French version. I've been booked for that one. Intercontinental Hotel Group. The first video I did, by the way, of course, it was a YouTube video. So they were them taking care of the marketing and sharing the videos. And I find out the very first video I did for them was like basically reaching almost 7 million views. So it's kind of fun. It was just for a signature voice at the end of the ad. But still, you're like amazed. I'm like, wow, there's more than almost 7 million people that came to listen to that. How do I prepare for it? I can tell you something, at least for this one.
Okay.
I was sick.
Wow.
I was sick to do my audition. Like I had fever, and I'm like, oh gosh, I need to rest. I was not feeling good and stuff, and my voice was like that, like oh my god, there's nothing I could do. And then I received the notification from my agent saying, hey, you have an audition. It needs to be given back by a certain hour. Sometimes it's during the day, but usually they give you like a window of 24 hours. Sorry.
It's like a war skill kicking in.
It's not that. It's just like, sometimes you drink and bloop.
Right.
Anyway, and I was like, oh my God, there's no way. I'm like, oh gosh, my agent is asking for it. I mean, come on, it's important. I need to do it. So I decided to do it. And I'm like, you know what, Sylvain, I felt that I had a certain amount of energy left in my body. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I can do it, but my battery inside, my energy inside may last maybe for max an hour, and I need to do it. You have a brief, basically. You receive like indications about what they want to hear. Sometimes they send you for me as a French at least, they send you the English version to hear what is the spirits of the actors that did this ad. And sometimes you just have simply a brief that is written, and you need to figure out what is it. But think about it. How we call that? Intercontinental Hotel Group. Upscale, okay? It is excellence. It's people that come here because this is kind of like high-end hotel with all the best, basically. So you need to think upscale. Which kind of voice do you want to hear in upscale? You want to hear like AEG Hotel and Resort, the best hotel you could get. Or do you want to hear AEG Hotel and Resorts, the best hotel you could get? So you just understand it. You just need to have this kind of like image that comes in your head. You need to know what is the product about to give the best of your voice. It's how I see the things. So.
Yeah, that's really cool.
It is cool.
Yeah. And do you do like warming like exercises to warm up your voice? Like
so normally when you're a voice actor and you come this domain, you come here, you're like, all right, you arrive, you try to find your placement, you arrive, then you put your microphone, you do your level. This is a technical part. You make sure that everything is working 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 10 times. At the right level for everything, and then you are like, and then you can also play with like Kiki, Coco, le concasseur de cacao, qu'on voit Kiki la cocotte avec un coca qui a colle de caracu.
Yeah, how long do you do that for?
You can do it 5 minutes, but you need also to you need to kind of like a little warm up, to make sure that all your instruments is actually working. Why do I have the feeling to be a little low on that chair? Oops. Well, maybe. Yeah.
That's the first of Gary's podcast.
It's better. David podcast. Yeah. Right now with Michel Vega and Mr. David Sullivan.
Yes, me, Gary Silver. Gary's podcast. Expect unexpected. You're going to go, what will happen on this podcast? Gary's podcast. Good best
So
podcast.
what's next, David? What is
Okay,
next?
someone.
I want to know what's next, my
Okay,
David.
someone. Your next question. Question number 6 is, what is like working with people for broadcasts and documentaries which I sound like Hulk Hogan?
Oh, like documentaries and this kind of
Yes,
things.
documentary, yes.
It all depends about. So basically, what projects could I talk about? I did 2 documentaries. One was for smaller network TV, was called TNT, which is basically terrestrial, basically a terrestrial network telecommunication, basically in France. Very specific things. It's called Trust TV. So this one was different because this documentary, I was trying to gather a portfolio of voice exceptionally because I wanted to refine my portfolio. I did it freely, for free, because I wanted to have the voice. And actually it was about saving a project.
Right.
Because looks like they were not satisfied with the voiceover that was doing the documentary. And they say, hey, we need to deliver this documentary by tomorrow morning. It's a high emergency. We need someone. So they took me very last minute. And they were like, hey, Sylvain, are you available? Of course I'm available for documentary, for voiceover. Yeah, I'm coming, of course. So I came at night and I did save the project actually. Of course, I was not alone, but with the team of the sound engineer and someone that was also basically an artistic director for this project. And I had lots of fun, and it helped me to give lots of different kind of voices, for it was a very interesting documentary about the hackers. And the second one, the approach was different. It was for Arte TV. So Arte TV basically is a European network that is Franco-German, okay? And basically, I believe on that one that my voice has been heard on all the Francophonie. It was called Chernobyl Forever. And I could give different kind of voice for the testimonial of the young man. So I was doing all the voice for these guys. But what was very interesting about this documentary, I was learning a little more about the catastrophe of Chernobyl. You probably also the TV show Chernobyl, but it was way before. I recommend to watch this show, by the way, because I believe it's pretty accurate about what happened. Maybe it has been done a little sensationally, but not that much. I believe it's pretty probably sticking to what is the truth about this tragedy, because we all have been contaminated more or less in Europe by the cloud of Chernobyl, the radioactive one. And what is very interesting is how the director, because the director was also an engineer in chemical, nuclear chemistry, something like that, and gave me some really good lead about what he wanted to have for the interpretation of each of his characters. So when you build a voiceover for that, some people say, oh, this guy is amazing. Oh, these guys know that. Maybe the guy or the woman can be incredible, a good actor. But we need to also underline what is very important. It's actually a job of synergy in between the artist, some people would say the talent, or not. The talent, basically, the artistic director, that is also a talent, because being able to direct someone, it takes lots of skills. You need to be really good to what you do. You want to get the best of an actor by himself can be good, but when you got the right director artistic is great. It really helps you to find all the intention. And last, but surely not the least, the sound engineer. Sound engineer, board operator, these kind of people. It's very interesting for this discipline because it's very technique, but you also need to have a certain sense of what it is to be an artist. So it's all the synergy of all the three people that can also lead to a really great result on what you do for this kind of project. it's really definitely a teamwork, and that's fun because doing the class of radio, I'm like, yeah, it's the kind of synergy that we could have. I have the feeling that what is more interesting though, because when you come for a punctual voiceover, you don't know the artistic director, you don't know the board operator, the sound engineer. So you need to make it work with some people you never met. So it asks a lot of patience. You need to deeply listen to the other. And you also need to be able to listen of what you do and say, oh, wow, I could give another variation. So it's way more technical than you could think. For basically a 52 minutes TV documentary, let's count maximum if you stay under or equal to 3 hours of recording for a 52 minutes documentary, it is said you are a good voice actor. And there's a real research for each intention, each phrases, each things. It is very, you need to be really on the point to make sure that, oh yes, it's exactly what I want. It's great. It's great. So yeah, it's how I mean, I learn a lot at the voiceover school, but you even learn way more on working on these kind of things because once it's done, you're like, gosh, that was great. That was great. And you need to be good at that. If you are not good, you don't work. If you are good, they call you back. That's the game.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. David?
也想象。
Yeah. So our next topic.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yes, stop it. I got you to ask him.
No, no, no.
David's like,
He's like, yeah, I'm invested.
I'm mesmerized. I'm looking at Michelle Vega. All right.
Now, the last topic, your career as an actor, and question number 7. So, tell me what was like working for. I apologize if I screwed up. So, Charming Forever and Hackers as an actor.
Chernobyl Forever, I kind of like more or less explained to it a little earlier, I guess. Working as an actor, I had some few short movies that I did. It was pretty incredible, but it was on a more modest project. One that was completely without any voices to add, was just like way more on the attitude there was some music, was some kind of music clip, and was basically playing but without speaking. So it has been, I would say, my career, I would say, I like to say I'm way more a voice actor because, I am out of screen and then I'm only speaking, you only hear my voice. Or most of the time I've been on the camera, I was never speaking. So I never really had a huge role on the side of the regular acting. And actually, the voice acting thing is really way more something I'm into. I am a fan of animation. I love animation. I love Jap animation. I love cartoon. I love. If there was even some really great Disney movie that I loved to hear. To be able to carry life through your voice to an animation for me is like, when I was, the first memory I had when I took conscious of my own life when I was a kid, okay, it was an animation called Maya la Bay. It was a Jap animation. And what you need to know about France, we grew up, especially my generation, there was basically the wave of Jap animation coming in France. And Jap animation has been way more popular than, there was some cartoons, of course, but way more popular than some cartoons, American cartoons in France. So I grew up with that. I always loved like the almost the exaggeration in the Jap animation, but also here, and so very great acting in it. And I'm like completely mesmerized by that. It really is something that I love. The world of cartoon and Jap animation. I'm hoping that one day I will be able to do one character in a Jap animation. It's just like, would be like, oh my God, would be a dream fulfilled. So yeah. I'm on my way to fulfill another dream soon. That is close enough, so I'm happy with that.
Do you have any advice for those wanting to get into voice acting?
That's a good question.
Acting classes, expression behind the microphone, if it's for voice acting. Develop also, unless you got, how we call that in French? I had a teacher that was specialized in the vocal techniques, like the posture, how to breathe with your gut, you know what I mean? Try to avoid any kind of noise from your mouth. Even though when you are in front of a microphone, I even have a little recipe. Usually, it's to take water with a little bit of citrus. I would say that lemon inside of it, just to help you to avoid the clicks and stuff. Making sure before going in front of the microphone on the technical part that you didn't eat anything with sugar or this kind of thing that can develop some kind of noise like that are not very appealing for the the listener. These kind of things, acting class, definitely acting class. And I would say if you don't have a technical teacher for the voice, I would suggest also to sing maybe, because there's a lot to do with how to control your air. Make sure on the physical level to have a minimum to actually practice some sports and be in good condition, because staying 3 hours on a recording, for example, can be challenging for the body.
So like choir classes are good too, would you say?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe so, yeah. Singing and acting. Singing and acting, I believe it's good.
And like, how do you get over like listening to your own voice? Because I know some people don't like that, right? That like when they're speaking, they're like, oh, I don't like the sound of my voice.
Do you like yours?
I don't know. I think it's okay.
sounds like a very personal question. Loving your voice. Do you love yourself already?
Yeah.
Great. That's a
There
great
you go.
news. There you go. I mean,
We're making it.
Loving your own voice. It is said that, especially when you are behind a microphone like that, we have everything is amplified. We have our, headset that kind of amplify our voice. It can also go a little. Me as a man, a little lower, on my bass. You got to school, or you love it, or you hate it at first, and then you learn to love it, because you take conscious of the way you speak. You take conscious of what you could consider as a default. When you hear someone speaking, like, oh my God, I didn't have conscious that I had this problem with my voice or something like that. But there's room for improvement. There's even when you speak on a microphone, like, you need to make sure you're not giving too much air, trying to avoid some kind of pop. There's a way to control your voice and your air column to at least help to avoid it. And this is a very important technical part. Usually, when you leave the least noise possible when you record, you are the best friend of the sound engineer. They love you. Like, oh, I love this guy. There's no too much to edit. I love that. But yeah, sometimes there's no real other way. But yeah, diet is also very important. Really make sure you don't have, for example, when you eat something like pasta or like any kind of like, how you call that already?
Like salty, savory?
No. When for
Carbs?
pasta, there's some carbs, exactly.
Carbs.
Thank you, carbs. What you need to know is organically we got some enzymes. But when you eat, basically, you start your digestion in the mouth. And we got some enzymes that are working for that can still work, because if you got some kind of like residuals in your mouth, it's what can provoke some weird noise in through the microphone. So really trying to be in control with that and arriving, like having the time, brush your teeth, of course, before recording, and making sure that you will not have too much undesirable noise. Especially when you deal with some kind of like condenser microphone that are actually really, really catching everything in the studio, any kind of noise. So, I would say, there's basically the general advices I would give to a young voice actor or someone that work in media to make sure like this kind of undesirable noise would come, you know.
All right, now.
Or like moving on your chair.
Oh, squeaking.
The squeaking
Squeaking
things, like
noise.
you need to be careful with that thing, like static. If you have but yeah, usually, depending on the kind of project, I prefer to be stand to express myself behind a microphone. Usually,
Nice. All right, now your 8th question, Sylvain, was you mentioned a Hollywood scratch earlier, but I'm going to ask you, when the Hollywood scratch happened, how concerned were you in Hollywood?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat?
When the Hollywood scratch happened, how concerned were you in Hollywood? How
Oh.
concerned were you when the Hollywood scratch happened with yourself as an actor?
Yeah, the Hollywood strikes that happened, right?
Well, like I told you, it has been a tough time. I've been through a little depression moment linked to several kind of things. So, but there was basically not that much job, so I did other kind of little jobs, like deliverer, these kind of things. So to try to go through, you know. So yeah, it was a tough time for me in that moment. So I have the feeling that I'm just actually starting to get back on my feet with that. So I got trying to have good hope and trying as much as I can to thrive in my classes as well, and also working on the side. I still have a job beside here. I'm working. Usually, if I count my classes, I'm basically, if we can't count classes as work, if I dare to say that, I'm working from Monday to Saturday. So, trying to find the energy to work on my assignment and these kind of things and on my classes. Sometimes I'm very good at it, and sometimes I'm like very tired.
Yeah.
So it's a little complicated. But I'm saying that I'm sure I'm not the only one in this situation. Everyone is doing his best with what they have, what they can. So I heard very interesting stories in some of your podcasts earlier. Like Eric, I believe it's his name. Eric,
Yeah, Eric.
it was like he's got a very, very interesting path. Was very fascinating to hear about his story. So yeah, everyone do with what they have and what they can, trying to go through and trying to thrive. I don't have the feeling to be a fast learner for some things, and studying, even though if it's been like a while now I'm living here, studying in a foreign language, it's not. Sometimes it's great, and sometimes it's like, oh, it's a little more tiring. If it would be in my native language, I believe I would be more artist. Doesn't mean I'm not giving any results, for sure, but sometimes I'm like, oh, give me a break with English. Please excuse my English. I'm trying hard to speak English with you guys. It's hard as a French guy. So yeah.
All right. Yeah. So fun. And how do you balance work, school, and your personal life? You just
It's like jungling. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes it's less good. Sometimes we get absorbed to what we do. It's trying hard to keep some kind of balance, and sometimes, unfortunately, sometimes I am also a little disconnecting myself in my corner. I don't know. There's moment in life where it's great to be very social. There's moment in life it's great to be a little by yourself as an individual, even though I'm living with someone that I'm deeply in love with. And sometimes, I mean, it's probably the struggle of everyone every day. It's how to make work everything. Sometimes we are good at it. Sometimes we are less good at it. Sometimes we are tired. Sometimes we think everything is all right. It's not necessarily. It's not everything all right. Okay, and you just try to get out and try to give the best to make it work. So it's not easy. Like everyone, I'm a human being trying to do his best, I guess, with what I have.
Right.
So
it's good.
there was a recipe trust me, everyone would know about it, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, what is the recipe for happiness? Oh, you do that, that, and that. Okay, thank you. This is great. Oh, thank you so much. I would be a billionaire right now, right? What is your secret? There's no secret, you know. Ah, yeah? Ah, yeah? Okay. That is that kind of fun. I believe there's some moment in your life when you feel that you thrive and everything is all right and nothing can happen to you. And there's sometimes you're like, okay, there's life reminding you that you are just like, I would say, renting this life. You know, like you would rent a house. And one day the house is gone. So I'm like, oh, the life is over. Okay, what's next? Who knows?
Yeah, life really humbles you.
Life, yeah. It's because, I mean, it's all what makes it worth it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
If you know that one day it will be over, then, oh gosh, I got this amount of time to do some things. Even though sometimes doing nothing feels good.
Yeah.
Sometimes it does, and it also helps you to rest a little, but doing a lot. Life can be like, oh my God, I'm doing all of this, being busy, but be careful with busy. Sometimes it gives you, I would say, it gives you the feeling that you got, oh my God, I'm busy. And being so busy, you know what I mean? You burn out, and you also forget, like, oh, well, wait a minute, I need to stop. Like, what is the essential in my life?
Mm-hmm.
What is the most important thing in my life? So trying to keep that in mind, it's hard, especially in a life where everything is always about performance. Always, oh, I need to keep up. Oh, I need to be the best all the time. Oh, we should be authorized to be vulnerable sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
because it's also a part of being human, you know. So, and exploring this part is also what can help you even in the acting, you know, knowing this part of yourself and accepting it somehow can also serve your purpose as interpretation for an artist, you know, I believe. So we need to be fully alive,
Mm-hmm.
to basically give the breath of life to, for example, a voice that you would give to a cartoon or a character, or I believe like acting is deeply exploring what is being human in this world.
All right. Now, Sylvain, your night question. Tell us when you get your podcast for Go West. Tell me about that podcast.
So this was my final project last semester, and I got my wonderful teacher, Joe Armstrong. He's like, all right, guys, so this is the final. I'm like, okay, so you need to build the podcast, the final project. Like, whoa, a podcast, okay. So on my own hand, I'm like, a podcast. So, okay, I mean, basically, it's like being a voiceover artist, but this time you just maybe need to write your own text, which is not necessarily the easiest part. But I'm like, all right, so let's try to see what's going on. What do I know? What kind of subject could be interesting for people? Because they need to, no one wants to listen to something boring, right?
Right.
You use that. I'm like, okay, next. I don't want to hear about whoever it is if it's boring. So I'm like, okay. I remember that I've been a tour guide for almost 10 years. I was like, oh, Los Angeles. Oh yeah, when I do a tour, I speak a little bit of everything of Los Angeles. So what if I was, instead of like having just a bus, I would have a bigger audience, and this bigger audience this time would be American. So I'm like, oh gosh, I need to speak slowly enough, but not too fast, but still at a good pace to make sure that everyone would be able to understand me with my accent, trying to make it entertaining enough, but not too academic, not boring, because people want to learn some stuff. I'm like, hey, so the spirit was like, doing the go. We decided of the name in class. Actually, I was like, oh, how could I call my podcast? And I was like, whoa, what are you doing? I mean, I'm aware I was a guide in Western America. So I'm like, okay, so, and looks like there's this very American expression, says go west. I'm like, okay, I mean, that's a name. I got a name. So, okay, cool. I start with a name. Now I know my subject, so I can do that. And I made sure, since I have a home studio at home, double home, I was like, cool. I'm like, I believe I'm skilled enough to do that. I didn't really have strong, I mean, I know how to edit a little with two digital audio workstation. One is GarageBand, which is the one by default. Some people were like, okay, so classic, Frenchy, okay, understood. But the other one is Twisted Wave. So Twisted Wave is really dedicated for voice actors. It's really designed for just recording the voice by itself. And it's really easy to use and fast. When you need to give back, it's very intuitive. Like in no time, I can edit good enough, I would say, a voice. That's what I use for my audition. And I was like, oh, if I need to add music and stuff, but that's cool. I can remove the one from this Twisted Wave in wave format and put it back in it. And then I could design the rest. But trust me, I listened several times this podcast to make sure I was not making any mistake, because no one wants to hear the English language massacred by someone that is not from the country. So I made sure I was not making any mistake. I listened to it several times and again and again and again and again and again. I'm like, I need to try to give something back. So yeah, it could be the first episode of a podcast. I admit it, but Go West. But the thing is, you're speaking about Go West, but it is not broadcast anywhere. It has just served for my teacher. It was the end of my semester. Michelle heard it.
Yeah.
I listened to it. I don't remember if I don't know if you remember it, but so far I was pretty happy with it. So yeah, and what was cool, I was like, cool, I will be able to do that from home, because I had a thought for the student that didn't have any basic recording system at their home. So I was saying to my teacher, like, hey, don't worry, professor. I got all what I need at home. I can work from home. And actually gives a little comfort. It's comfortable. You are at home. You know your material. You know you have time. You can be good. You know what I mean? So I could do that really cool. And then I'm like, okay, I can send it. Like, it was a small podcast. He said, hey, I was like, how long should be the podcast? He said, oh, it can go from minimum 10 minutes to whatever. I'm like, okay, what I can do? I'm like, oh. I was like, you can actually say a lot in the space of just, it was roughly 12 minutes. You can say a lot about it. The other goal was not to dig crazy in it, but I was thinking, I really put myself in the position of someone that was presenting the history of Los Angeles, and by extension, a little bit the history of California, because Los Angeles is a part of California. Like if someone decided to come on vacation, have at least a minimum keys about what was the history of Los Angeles. And then if people wanted to then dig a little more out of it, they could, because they would have, oh yeah, he told me about this bullet point, oh, about this, about that. So I gave some few keys. It's not something like, I really made it clear since the beginning that, hey, you guys are coming on vacation, you need to know this about Los Angeles, but not making it like something like super academic and super dug, but just enough, you know. So that was the spirit of that podcast. So yeah, I mean, you listened to it. Looks like you enjoyed it.
I love it. You get a major job.
That, you know, I'm telling you something. I mean, the podcast you do regularly is really something. You know what I mean? It's just like it takes some guts to do what you do.
Right.
So I know how to do some things, but what you do, I need to find the confidence to do it. And you have it. I'm like, oh my God, this guy is so strong. So really, I got a huge admiration for what you do. And Michel, of course. Michel Vega, bien sûr. Bien sûr, Michel. Of course, Michel.
Thank you. Yeah, it's fun here. And it does take some courage, honestly. Mm-hmm. But thankfully, you guys all make it super fun.
Cool. I'm hoping you are artists with us today. She's like, oh, she's laughing. Michelle.
So fun.
All right, now, Sylvain, your last question is: tell us what projects are you working on do you want to share exclusively here on Gary's podcast?
All what I can say. I got. All right. So I am under what we call NDA. Okay, so non-disclosure agreement. So I cannot say in detail what I do.
Right.
But I can tell you something. I will do at the end of the month a live event for awards for certain domain in the industry.
Right.
So
Cool.
it's kind of cool for that.
Nice.
And I will record the voice for a cartoon for a big American network. It's all what I can say.
That's
And
so
I'm
cool.
like big American network. I was like, I'm like, okay, it's like cartoon, and then okay, next step, Japan animation. I was like, and then they'll say, oh, Sylvain, we need you for several episodes. I'm like flying like, oh my god, what's going on? I'm flying above my, oh my god, I'm walking on clouds. Oh, I love it so much. Oh my god, what's going on? You just, at first you are super excited. I'm like, okay, it's not done yet. So you come back, the feet on hers. And I'm like, okay, I will do that. I am praying that would be the beginning of a long story with more things to do like that in the contact of cartoons or the Japan animation world. But keep going on working, you know, and keep going on some classes, personal improvement, and also if it reflects on the professional level for the voiceover domain, yeah. So that would be great. I mean, in a perfect world, I believe that finding the fine balance between working in the radio domain or post-production domain, as well as being a voice actor, it would be like, okay, I'm living my best life. That would be fantastic. I believe it would be my best life. For the studies, I'm keeping going. I'm considering maybe taking some classes even this summer, trying to accelerate a little the process. And I also will need to ask for some few questions to the teacher to try to find the right direction. So I also know that I don't know yet if I should take the multi-camera program or the single camera program, knowing that my major is in radio. So I don't know yet, but I know it's required to do one of these. So I will probably ask for some advice around. I'm trying to trying to find the best way to complete all of this. And who knows? Why not an internship? Eventually, in a radio, I will see that. I believe it's still early now to talk about it. I'm just trying to keep up on my classes step by step, slowly but surely, and going through already what I did. So far, I just have one class that has been completed. I still need to complete 2 other classes and maybe go to see the next step, what's going on. Editing may be also a possibility for me. But I want to stay in this domain. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Feeling
That's
good.
good.
Yeah, I believe I'm feeling good in that. I'm feeling good with you guys. So thank you again for the invite. So who knows?
That's so cool. And would you ever consider doing a podcast?
I would, but I need to find. I don't know. Alone, I'm kind of scared. Honestly, it's legitimate to be scared. I did some things. I'm like, oh, I'm not scared. I can do that. And yeah, I did. I'm like, oh wow, I did that. And sometimes I'm like, gosh, should I go in that direction? Should I not? I do not know. My biggest fear is to end up have nothing interesting to say. So. It's when you do a voiceover, this is great. Everyone can hear you. They will like it, they will not like it, but at the end, they don't really know you are. You're kind of hidden.
Yeah.
That's the difference with being on a broadcast like we are right now. It's you put yourself in a position of being vulnerable, and some people will love what you do, and some people will definitely hate what you do. And God knows that on the network, people can be pretty cruel, hidden behind their screen. They are here, trolling you, threatening you. And then you would meet them in person. No, I didn't do anything. It's not me. So, but yeah, I mean, some people could be like that. Just like, we live in a tough world where being a doer is often criticized, and not doing anything but criticizing the other, like, it's not a big deal somehow for some people. So, so being a doer it's not easy. Maybe I should not care about it and just jump in. Oh, do it scared.
Do it scared.
Do it scared.
Do it scared.
Do it scared. Oh my God. Thank you, Joe Armstrong. So, yeah, do it scared. He's right. No, he's right.
Oh.
What he said is right. Once you are in hell, you have no choice but to keep going
Yeah.
if you want to get out. So
100%.
you go through. I'm like, okay, it's done. Was it good? Was it bad? But it's done. So,
Yeah.
and sometimes people are like, you thought you were like, oh my God, I messed up. Like, and people are, that was amazing.
Thank you.
And you looking the guy. I'm like, yeah, it was me. Oh yeah, it was. Oh my God. Like, oh my God. I'm like, whoa, cool down. I'm like, oh my God. Talk to me again. Oh. That's when I was 15, but yeah. Talk to me again. Oh my God. It's when I was young and beautiful. Anyway, it's just like, so yeah, great. Yeah, it was great for that.
On that note, Sylvain, I want to thank you for being my guest. This was a lot of fun having you, and I enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you. I enjoyed it a lot as well. I mean, I'm hoping that people will not find me boring whatsoever.
No.
So yeah, I just shared what I needed to share. I can be really bouncy sometimes, and sometimes be like, whoa, very serious.
Yeah.
And
It's
Michelle, I want to thank you for an amazing job as my co-host.
Thank you for having me again, David. I loved being here. Thank you, Sylvain.
Yeah, Michelle. I look forward for your next podcast, guys. So it would be nice. So thank you again, David. David
Anytime.
Podcast today
Yes, Sylvain.
on the Lancer Radio Network, the podcast that you should listen.
You
And
sure?
push the button subscribe and give a little push, a little
Thumbs
like,
up.
a little thumbs up.
A little
Yeah.
share.
Yeah, a
share.
little love. Share the love
On
with David
social
Podcast.
media, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, and YouTube. All right.
Oh my God, you have a lot like that again? No? Oh my God, it was like, and everywhere and around the universe.
All right, everyone. I want to thank you for listening and watching David's podcast, our 12th episode, and we will see you next week for our 13th episode. Goodbye, everyone. Take care.
Bye.
Peace and love. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.